Hey everybody, it's Thursday.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And we are so excited because good news, we are 1 month out from this year's Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. So
That is true.
I think the official 1 month out was yesterday, right? Because that will be the start of the event. But this time next month we will be mid-expo. Yeah, and actually I couldn't be more excited. So I guess, gosh, I'm doing this backwards. I said, let's do a fishing report and then let's talk about the expo. But look at me, I'm just getting so excited. I'm going to do this backwards. So for people at home who are getting excited as well, can we bring up that website? Let's show people. And I think we can even put the website into that comment section. So in case anybody at home wants to follow along, in case you're getting excited, planning your trip, you want to see what kinds of different vendors and everything are there, you can go and get all this information right here. Also makes a great Christmas gift a little bit ahead of time, right? But bring your favorite friends and family, and we'll see you at the expo. So just wanted to do a little glance through there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to say the one thing that's preventing me from thinking ice yet is that our boat is not winterized and we are still technically on open water.
Yeah, we are. And we have one more weekend, I think, before I get that thing all buttoned up and put away. So, yeah, I don't know. We talked a little bit about it on Tuesday, and I don't know if I even want to think about last weekend. I don't ever. It's been a long time since we've gone out and gone fishing and not put at least one little baby fish in the boat. And last weekend that happened, not for lack of finding fish. We found plenty of fish. It just couldn't get anything to bite.
Well, and I think that we were up against some really great conditions because, first of all, it was cold. I will be honest, anything that was metal on the boat, the water was starting to freeze to it, make little mini icicles hanging off all over the place. But it was windy, and so that was kicking up those waves. Just those conditions were just, you were battling the elements every time you turned around. And we were convinced that we just had to find like an alcove or, this or that, or hide behind some trees or whatever. You can always find a spot. And on that particular day, we just couldn't even find a spot. So we did find lots of schooling fish. And so it's great because they are settling up into those patterns that you would expect. They're in the places that we thought that they would be, right? Moving right on to winter. And so I guess that's the sign for us is we should be winterizing our boat and moving on to winter as well. But we have one more weekend of the season. And so we are looking forward to getting out there, doing a little bit more exploring before ice settles in.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess we're looking forward to bringing that to you next week. So where you guys are at, let us know. Let us know if it's ice, if you're close, if you're not, because this is the time of the year where we see a lot of variation across that ice belt. So people in the north, they are all winterized, and I've seen people getting quite a bit of snow already, to be honest.
I've been seeing ice fishing videos, not like fishing, but scouting, ice scouting, and people have been finding a little bit. After this week, it's warmed up a little bit, but next week's looking good. So
so let us know where you're at and how that's going for you. And we are so excited to move on to ice. So I guess with that, let's bring our guest in. Thanks so much for being here tonight, Ben.
Oh. Hi there. How we doing? Thanks for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So we are so excited to we're meeting you the first time here tonight. And I think a lot of people at home are as well. So can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So, yep, I'm Ben Morse, the owner, creator, whatever you want to call it, for Noti-Fish Technologies. And I'm a Wisconsin native, born in Wisconsin, and then figured I'll kind of tell the story of how things got started. It'll help fill in a little bit about me. So, not in Wisconsin this time. I was a student for computer science out in South Dakota at South Dakota State, and going fishing quite a bit, actually. There's some good lakes out there, and it was one of the times that I was out ice fishing there. I saw a couple that came out with a big trailer, and the woman went around setting up I'd never seen it before, or at least never thought about it. It was, big devices. I figured had to have a big lead acid battery in there for an aerator, but then I realized, wait a minute, I don't see flags on that, so they must be like remotely connected to them. And so I go back. I was by myself that day, back to fishing. Wait a minute. I really haven't seen anything like that. That's just the remote connection part to the tip up, and all the wire surfaces. No, that'd be a pretty good idea. And I obsessed on it since then, all the way to today. I think that was almost 3 years ago now, and that led to the creation of Noti-Fish. And it's been not too long of development. We tried not to sit there and work at it too long and make progress. But yeah, we like where we're at now.
That is so cool. One of the things that we always love to talk about is fishing products by fishermen or fishermen, right? Because whenever you, as yourself, as an angler, have a need that you can help fill that gap with your skills, with your expertise, that's always something that we love to talk about. So can you share a little bit more about what Noti-Fish is?
Of course, yeah. So in that moment, I realized I need to make, an ice fishing tip up sensor device that makes a wireless network with each other. And so there's a lot of different ways you could do that. One of the ways that I thought would be the best way at first would be to have all the devices able to connect to each other and leapfrog signals. And then in that way you could, scatter them around, cover the whole lake. It sounded great. And I actually, finished it, building it that way. And I realized, well, with the range it had, you would have to have maybe 10, 20 of them, who knows, depending on the size lake you want to have a tip up on the other side of it, you might need to do a lot. So I scratched all that, and that's why I call it the 3.0, because there's been a couple versions, and yeah, this version, the one that's going to be taken to market, has very long range, or I consider it that. I've tested it in very suboptimal conditions, going over 1.5 miles. So they're not leapfrogging, but if you have a tip up over 1.5 miles away, that's so yeah. And then good battery life, when I knew that was something else that this product needed to have. And then of course, it needs to work. You don't want to miss any tip ups or anything like that. So yeah, that's the one product that we have right now. There could be more versions as it goes. Of course, there's a smartphone app available that updates all the time. Yeah, that's about.
Yeah. So, Josh, can you pull up the website? Because I'm looking at it on our screen. And so maybe we can give people at home a sneak peek as well. But I was hoping that you could describe for us, how does this attach to the tip up, or how does it alert you?
Yeah, so we got one right here. So
hold on. Go back to the screen, Josh. Sorry. I just led you astray.
So yeah, this is going to attach to the tip up using Velcro. I figure there should be a place on most tip ups. If not, I explain in the instructions some of the ways that you could make it, get a surface that's accessible for the other side of that Velcro. But once it's on there, this is the most foolproof option we could come up with for not missing a flag. Is as long as you can get it set up somewhere where you can attach that to the flag. There's just a magnetic proximity sensor in there that should hear. Oh, because we never reset it, but I don't know if you're able to hear that notification sound. I got my phone going here. But yeah, I wanted to. I was trying to list all of the boxes that we wanted to check off. If you see on there, it says show on map. That's another one of the big ones I wanted to have, because I was just thinking about, as a fisherman, what's something I would want to do if I have 50 of these out there. First of all, how do I know which one? So I made it so you're able to rename them, and then also where did I put that tip up? So whether or not you named it according to location, it actually shows up on the map where it was. That's one of the other features that we're pretty excited about. Yeah, you see this antenna here. That's because older models didn't have that, but I think customers will end up being happy it's there in the long run because of how good the range of this is. Like I said, I've only ever tested it in suboptimal conditions. It's hard to find a 2+ mile stretch with nothing in the way. I mean, I could have gone out on the ice, which we haven't had much of in the last month. So yeah, that's trying to think of some of the other stuff we're excited about. But yeah, does that explain most of what you were wondering on how this? Oh yeah, so the removable battery. That's another thing we were excited about. Is it we wanted to allow there to be no limit on the number of devices in a network. In order to do that, the device is going to have to, there's lower amounts of power a device like this could use. But if you bump it up a little bit, have the device start doing a little bit more work, then you can have no limit on the number of devices. That's what we did here. But I didn't want to leave out the folks that are going on, multi-day fishing trip out in the ice shanty, middle of Lake of the Woods, one of those guided tours. That's when you don't necessarily want to have to recharge the device itself. You want to have another one ready to go. So it comes with a removable battery pack. You can swap another one in there. Comes with a charger, so you can charge the ones that are not in there while it's going and keep yourself up and running.
Nice.
That is awesome, actually. And so I can see how that attaches to, any shape tip up. So whatever it is that people have at home, whatever it is that you're already using, this is something that can adapt right to that.
That's what we're hoping. I mean, I don't personally own or haven't been able to test with every single tip up that's ever been made, but all the big ones, your classic. I guess I don't know the term for your circular. They with the foam insulation. There's a million different kinds that have them like that, and of course, the famous Beaver Dam one. That one, those ones are big. They have plenty of surface area. Those ones should be easy. And, your Walmart dinkers, they're still away with those. There's usually a flat surface, or you could use some tape if really need be. But yeah, I've tried to be as expansive as I can with testing that way.
Well, and I also like that it is that magnetic feature and that you have that little bit of line, because when you have just that little bit of string, I can also see possibly somebody adapting it to like a tip up, or tip down, a different type of thing than just like a static, regular, typical tip up.
Yeah, I suppose I could have expanded the marketing, not necessarily called it an ice fishing device, because I know you could go well beyond that. You could take your pole on the beach and clip this to the fishing line, and then this would never, the alligator clip would never run all the way out through the last eyelet on your pole. So, but of course the magnet would get yanked off, and you'd know that you got something out there. Or you could use it for hunting purposes, make a trip wire type thing.
Oh.
It leaves all that stuff open. That's another reason I like going with the magnet option.
That's kind of fun, actually. Yep. Bank fishing, you never know. But taking it to the beach, that would be a cool thing.
Yeah.
We do have
the beach.
We do have a question. What is the price for like a kit?
Okay, so one of these sells for $46. Comes with, you can also buy a 3-pack, so then you're getting a little bit of a discount on each one of them. I advise buying more than one of them. This is another thing. See, I'm glad for all these opportunities to remember all the bells and whistles. But yeah, you can, any one of these can function as sort of like a pocket device, because the Bluetooth connection from your phone to one of these, phones are pretty good these days. You could probably set one of these on a tip up 50 yards, as long as you're not in like a thick shanty. That'll be fine, or right outside is fine. Or for the best results, I would keep it on you, put it in your coat pocket or something, and that way you're always connected to that one, and then the rest of the network, as long as it's in, like I said, I've tested them at 1.5 miles. I think you could probably, on a frozen lake, you could probably get better than that. As long as all of them are within that range, you should get the notifications and stay up and running. And of course, you can run like a check here. So I've got my 2 devices. I can do a roll call check. It says, okay, you're good to go. For now, this is, it's not the greatest app you've ever seen, but there's only so many workers here at Noti-Fish right now. But yeah, it reminds you to turn your phone off of silent mode or vibrate mode, because you want everybody in the shanty to know one's there.
That is awesome. And so is the app like just available on your regular app store? Do you go through website?
Currently, yeah, it's available on the Apple App Store for iOS users. So you could do, iPhone, iPod. I don't even know. Probably no one has those anymore, but an iPad, you could use, anything iOS that way. This does not run on Mac OS, but that would be if we start hearing from users that they would like to use it with their Mac, then we can do that. But then of course Android as well, and so that would be Google Pixels, and then all the Samsung phones can also run it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then we heard your alert go off. Is that something that you can change that tone? Is that a preset tone?
As of right now, you could customize the ringtone on your smartphone to be whatever you wanted it to be. That is certainly a feature we could add, but as of right now, the app does not allow you to customize the feature. Like I said, I might start getting input from users that I did not expect, and if that's a big one, if that's what people like, you bet that'll be in the next app update that you can do silly sounds and everything like that.
So let's say Emily has a couple, and then I have a couple. So if Emily's goes off, will it trigger my device, or can you set it so like we could split ours up?
That perfect question. That's another one I totally left out. So these run on channels with the type of LoRa, the low energy, long range communications they do between each other. You can do channels, and so it was 50. I think it still says 50 online. That needs to get updated, but now 40. But 40 different channels you can choose from. And so as long as the devices are on a different channel, they should be separate from each other. And then if they're all on the same channel, they work together. So for your question about you and Emily having separate sets, or even say you guys are fishing with a whole gang and everybody's got some. They've got some Noti-Fish stingers. Yeah, as long as you all set them to the same channel, then it should work.
That would be quite the ice fishing party. 40 people.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then everybody's phone will ding when one goes off.
Yeah.
I do really like the feature of the map that you were showing us. That's really nice. You were kind of saying to keep track of your tip ups and all of that, but that's even something that I like to take a screenshot of. We always talk about, using Google Photos as kind of a way to document some of our adventures. I'm not good at journaling or writing things down. And so during the day, I try to document the different parts of my trip. And if I screenshot that app, then I'm going to be able to remember exactly where I set up those tip ups.
Where they all were. That's never, gotta be honest, never even thought about that. It seems like a no brainer, but yeah, it should work perfectly for that. You can, on this day is where they all were, and put it right in the files.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'll go back and rename those spots. And then the one tip up will be like garbage tip up spot. And then the other one will be like best tip up spot ever.
Yeah. And then then you can go recreate it. Yeah, that's clever. That should work. Should work as is.
So what would you say like one of these setups weighs? Like if I'm trying to, there's a lot of people out there that are in the ice fishing community that are like, they want to be ultra light. Like, is this something that has some weight to it?
I've got a scale right here. I can't remember how much it weighs, but let's figure it out.
Perfect.
Let's see here. Got our scale. Tear it out. All right. One Noti-Fish dinger weighs 109 grams.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what's good or bad. I think the battery this is probably 60 to 70% of the weight of it. Without a battery in there, it's feather light. Because most of the housings right now are still 3D printed. Here's one right here. I think that's one of the nicest 3D printers out there right now, and it sure pumps these housings out fast for now until everything gets up off the ground. We need to get some Noti-Fish fans out there.
Well, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about your company so far is that, and shows like the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo is that you are like so new that you are manufacturing your own product right behind you right now.
That's correct.
To get it out to people, and so that's like you can't get any fresher off the press than that coming to the expo, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
So that's a really cool thing, and it allows you, if you get in on something at this stage of development, right? So if you're at the forefront, you may run into some bugs, but you also have the ability to help the company develop it into something that is what is going to work the best, right? So you can
Exactly.
have your say in it, and it'll be taken seriously. Now, if I write an email to Berkeley and try and give them, they're going to be like, well, I don't pay you $100,000 to be a bait engineer, so I think our guys have it kind of figured out, right? But
Exactly.
you are looking for that help, and those things, just because none of us can think of everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Definitely a good idea out there that somebody could come up with.
Yeah, and yeah, like you were kind of saying, I'm ultra excited to interact with people at this expo because I've done a few like basically farmers markets at this point, and so your hit rate on people that are into ice fishing is pretty low, even if it's a farmers market out where it's the best fishing land ever. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to have pretty much everybody that comes by have something to say and take their input, and it's maybe there's a feature that would have sold them on it, and I'm more than prepared to make the changes as fast as I can if it seems like that's what it needs to be. So I know this isn't perfect, but I'm hoping to start heading that direction as quick as possible. And the bigger it gets, the easier that'll be because you can get more help. Yeah, you can get more brains working on it.
Yeah,
All the above.
Something that we did kind of touch on a little bit, but I'm going to circle back to it because Josh was in the comments and he's talking about it. And he asked, what if another angler not part of my group has these, and will it interfere? And so the nice thing about that is those channels that you talked about. I believe you said that there were 40 of them. So if Josh and I were together and we wanted to set it to the same channel, we would get the same notifications as each other.
Mm-hmm.
But if Josh and I did not want to know, let's say we were doing a tournament against each other and we did not want each other to know or have access, then we could just choose a different channel from each other. And then that's an instance where that would not be shared information. So do I have that right there?
That is perfectly correct. Yep. That's exactly how I would have answered it. And yeah, the 40 channels as of right now to go between. And as you get me thinking about ice fishing jamborees and stuff like that, maybe one day it turns out 40 channels aren't enough, and then we'll have to make some other change to unlock more. These are good problems that could come up. But yeah, as of right now, the 40 different. So if you get out on the lake or setting them up to go fishing, and then all of a sudden you're like, what is this? What is Steve's tip up 5? Like that's not my. Then you can okay. Steve happens to use channel 24, and he's out on the same lake I am. I guess I just got to choose a different channel than 24, and you should be good.
That's awesome.
So I see so I guess I can pull this up now that we're not looking at anything super on the screen, but so I see here it has this color. Do you have other colors available?
Correct. Yeah, there's a selection as of right now. It's good thing is that it's easy to change it out when you got a 3D printer. So that's another one. If there's a color somebody wants and they want to make one custom, of course you can reach out to me. That's the nice part about being small, like you said, and Wisconsin based, selling to mostly Wisconsin people right now that's absolutely. If somebody's passionate about buying Noti-Fish and they put it only if it's pink, yeah, we can do that. Right now it's just blue, green, black, and gray is I think what's going to be there at the expo. Maybe army green. Without showing away too much, I've got ones like this right now. We'll see how many of them exist by the time the expo comes around. Anything that exists we'll take.
Well, and that is also a really great thing because those different colors are one of those things that can help you sometimes color code your tip ups or differentiate them. If you have different friends with you, if you have kids with you, it's always easy to you get the red, you get the gray, you get the whatever, and split them that way, or even just to communicate them. If everyone's together and they're like, oh my gosh, look at the red tip up, and then you can it's just kind of a fun thing to be able to. And I guess they all have names, right? And so you can use that or not. But I just always love when you can color code things, and I guess it's such a little detail, but it does make it fun.
Yeah, like I said, I imagine there'll be all sorts of stuff that people I never thought they would like so much, and either do it more or maybe they hate it, do it less. But yeah, all those things will come into focus once they're out there. There's, of course,
awesome.
it's not the first time anybody's ever used them, but yeah, once there's true customers, there's, somebody from the expo, somebody online. Yeah.
Well, and I like the fact that, this is something really simple, right? It's not super complex. And I also like the fact that it's fairly affordable, right? So your 3-pack for $130, that's gonna take care of most of what one person would need. But what really catches my eye here is the replacement battery pack. And so when you can get an extra battery pack for $9, and so it costs you what, like $30 to put battery packs in, like have a backup battery for each of these, like that's a $160 all in. That's a pretty good deal for something that should last for a fairly long time.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, that's the goal. There was obviously we want to keep the price down. In that, going back to that moment, I was sitting in the shanty getting the idea. I remember I turned around and I was like, "Whoa!" But then I was visualizing something that's like, if I was imagining myself checking out at the bait shop, and that's happens to be on the counter or the shelf right there, and if it was like $25, that's what we were shooting for when we first started making that. I was figuring, like, even if I didn't know I was going to the store for an ice fishing tip-up sensor that day, I might see that and buy a couple. So we didn't hit that 25 mark, but it's good to hear you say that, because that's really what I want. And I think once the manufacturing process gets streamlined and everything, we can creep it down more and get those impulse buy people like I was imagining myself that day in the shanty.
Yeah. Well, and I do love to actually hear that bit of story because, as far as somebody going into the bait shop, picking that up, going out ice fishing, this is something that doesn't require a huge amount of setup or knowledge or background information. You're not going to have to like go home and put this together and learn about it, right? This is one of those things that you can go out there and it's pretty plug and play. So that's actually a really fabulous thing in this day and age when everything otherwise takes so much more work.
Cool. You betcha. Yeah, it should be. Of course, they'll all come on the default channel. So if you buy 10 and turn them on, you should see all 10. Should work pretty good.
Awesome. And then the cool thing about this is that this is all things that people are going to get to see at the expo. So are you going to have like a demo there that people are going to be able to see or listen to or test?
Absolutely, yeah. I plan to bring some sort of a demo. At those farmers markets, that's the most expo experience I have. But yeah, I made like a fake sheet of ice using a piece of wood and set some tip ups up and had a display with a bunch of them like that. And then, others sitting out so people can handle them and check them out. And then, of course, hopefully we have enough for everyone.
Well, and nothing grabs attention of an ice fisherman more than a flag going up.
That's right. So
I'm
over at the booth.
So I'm a little bit of a 3D printer enthusiast myself. So I'm going to ask you a little bit of a technical question. So
Okay.
what kind of filament are you using? What type of plastic? And then how have you tested it in like cold conditions?
Perfect question. We're using ASA because I knew one other problem that could come up is sun exposure. Because we have an avid ice fisherman, you can't get brighter sun than on some of those days ice fishing, and so any old plastic would go brittle. So ASA is good for that. It's very strong for its weight and everything like that. And because of that, the way this end cap opens, we don't want to have this housing we don't want to have the material be too flexible. Otherwise, it would have to be a bigger housing in order to like keep a firm seal. So after some careful thought, we tried PETG, we tried all of them for the 3D printer nerds out there. But yeah, no nylon. ASA is what I landed on there. Now,
awesome.
You would have me busted if you asked me to name what ASA actually stands for. That I'd be busted.
Yeah. No, that's good, because when that just shows the level of testing that you've already gone through, and you've printed, you've made sure that you've printed and tested this stuff. And yeah, that is a good plastic for outdoor for outdoor use. So that's pretty awesome. And so on your door, do you have a gasket so it doesn't get water on the inside?
So the door kind of is a gasket. So this is, I don't know how good so this is, just a polyurethane solid block there, and then inside the mouth of that, it's sealed up inside of there. And of course, there is 2 halves of this housing there that's sealed up. So the only way the water might potentially get in there is through the battery opening. So if you're changing out the battery, I wouldn't go scooping up a bunch of water out of the hole with it. That might be the only thing. It wasn't overlooked. I just figure ice fishermen are smart. That's not going to happen. Nobody can scoop water in there. Nobody fish. But yeah, that was a big one. That was a tough stage of the development. It was figuring out a way to get to 3D print a housing that you can open and close an indefinite number of times and take the battery in and out. And that was the breakthrough, was the polyurethane block there. That's how we enabled it.
Well, and I like that it looks like it's a pretty robust block too. So even if there is a little bit of moisture, it has a long way to travel before it even gets to the flange where it sits against.
Yes,
and so like you really did do your thought process through the engineering of the product, and that's really good to see.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's there was plenty of ups and downs, but yeah, it always leads somewhere, and I'd say I'm pretty glad I'm not working on some of those problems anymore, because they could be frustrating. But yeah, it all works. It's, I don't know whether to call it waterproof. These are all things as a young company that are you're not sure, because I don't want to overstep. Yeah, do I call it waterproof or just highly water resistant? So for now on the website, it's just highly water resistant, I believe.
I think that's a good road to take. Don't underestimate how us ice anglers can treat stuff.
That's a good way to put it.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that, you're talking about the water and all that, I guess this is a side note to all that, but I'm thinking, the other thing is this unit like sits on the tip up or even sometimes in your pocket. And so this is something, although yes, it's out in the cold in the elements, it's hopefully not going to be like buried in snow or like stuck to the ice, because it really is that accessory to the tip up. So, again, when you have that fish on there, the nice thing is you showed us in the beginning that it has that Velcro. Like if you want it to stay attached, it doesn't look like it's something that's going to be in your way at all, but it's also not something that's going to be flopping around or stuck to the ice or that you're going to have to chisel out at the end of the day. So I do appreciate all of your questions about durability, but I'm also thinking like, it sounds like it's going to work out just fine as far as the tip up. So that's, I don't know, I guess kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's a big one with because of course you've got liquid water, but it could be -50 out, and so that could cause problems with devices that are getting frozen in, and so
but you're not going to be frozen in because you're going to know where your tip up is because it's on your map on the app.
That's right. Yeah, and it'll be. If everything's attached good, I wouldn't worry. I'm confident people will like it.
So you're carrying around multiples of these and you have that external antenna sticking up, what's your recommendation on how to store something like that when you're going to and from your ice fishing spot?
That's another great question. I did it. So of course I imagined that a lot, and of course 3D printing a housing, it's making them stack nice would be cool, and the antenna makes that more difficult. So I just tried to make this be like a really durable antenna. So I mean, you could trash it up and throw them in a bucket. That's kind of that was my kind of use case, I would imagine, when designing those kind of things. So if that's how people want to treat them, it should be fine like that. I think the housing is durable enough, and the waterproofing is good enough that inside should be dry. There's no need to like dry them out or anything. You can toss them in a bucket and call it good. Just don't forget to turn them off if you weren't out of battery and you want there to still, it'd still be at the same amount it was when you turned them off.
Is there on the app, is there like a battery level thing on there so you know where your battery is sitting?
Yep. So there's, see, I don't know how good it shows.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you can do the battery reset, and then it should do, so when it does that roll call check, it should also be checking each one of them's battery level as well. And so it should be showing you. So we went down from 100 to 99 on one of them while we've been talking. Like I said, the battery life is another one of those where I don't want to overstep with, especially because it's hard to test. It's hard to do a 20-hour test,
Yeah.
especially when it's cold out and we haven't had much ice and everything. I think there's a good chance the battery life is better than 20 hours if everything's set up well. Because of course they have. Here's a feature I like. There's two things I want to show here. But to my point, this blue light's going to show you whether you're Bluetooth advertising. So now if this was mine and then my buddy wanted to also get the notifications on his phone, now if he pulled up the app and scanned, he would see this device and he could connect and be part of the network. But of course, you can save a lot of battery. So if the blue light's off, it's not advertising. You can save a ton of battery that way. And I think if you did, I like I said, I've slacked on that. But if you did a full run with everything configured correctly and nothing advertising, I think 20 hours is pretty low for battery life. That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm saying. Other thing I wanted to, here we're going to trigger the tip ups now. No, what I want to show is this. So if I'm setting them up and say I was fishing a different lake before, they're still all named something and it's just the default location. If I turn them all on and let's say there's a list of 20 here that you need to scroll through, how do I know which one I'm holding? So one way you could do it if you wanted to do like a primitive version is you could like number them, you could write it on there, a piece of tape or something. This is the latest update on this device. Is after using them enough and testing, I realized if I just made it so that when you double click the button, then you say, it seems so simple. I don't know how it was one of the last things we thought of, but yeah, that yellow highlight there. So now I can see, okay, it's that one. So if I'm setting this tip up, holding this one, and then I double click the button there, oh, I've got that one. Now I can rename it and set the new location. So you don't have to go drawing on your Noti-Fish devices with Sharpie or putting tape on them. Hopefully that solves that. I don't know how it seems simple, but I feel like that's how it goes with all of engineering. Is it's the simplest things that get overlooked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're excited about that one. I think that fans will like that one.
Yeah, that was honestly a super thoughtful detail because when you are earlier, you're talking about, putting however many of these out on the lake as you want. You could have a huge group, you could have 40 of them out there. Okay, cool. But and I'm like, man, I wonder if that's tough to manage. But it's little details like that make it super possible that if you are running like a tournament for kids, or if you are just having a bunch of friends out there, or if you're just setting up for your family that day or whatever, and you have a whole bunch of them, it is actually realistic to know what you're holding and where you're putting it and all of that. So I think that to me sounded like it was going to be the hardest part, but whenever you have that management built in, I mean, like, you're good to go.
Like I said, it seems so obvious, but we missed it for a while, but it's there now. We got it in the nick of time.
Oh my gosh. And you never know. I mean, that is the fun part about the expos, to be honest, is that when you're out there and you're talking fishing with everybody, especially for the whole weekend, somebody else is going to come up with even another great idea. Be like, I can't believe we didn't think of that.
I fully expect to go home from this expo feeling like a dummy just because of all the ideas that I should have thought of forever ago that people just walk up for 2 seconds and yeah, I think you should do. And of course, my reaction will be, I'm a dummy. I should have known that. Yeah, I'm trying to go in expecting that because it's going to happen.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Well, and I think on Tuesday we were talking with our guest about how there is 2 buildings this year. Do you happen, I don't mean to put you on the spot, I try to never do this to people. Do you happen to know which building you're in this year? I'm
in the bigger building, the main one. The booth used to be 605. I think I got moved like 2 booths, so it's near 605. So.
That's awesome. Because I know that people are going to go honestly through both of the I was going to say the rooms, both of the buildings, and all of the aisles. There is so much great stuff to look at, and
I'm excited to I didn't even mention that how it's gonna be cool to see everything everyone else has come up with there, because that's where they go when it's ice fishing. You take it there.
Yep.
Well, and hopefully we bump into you on the ice one of these years, because that would be funny.
Yeah, I didn't mention that. If all else fails, you could find me out there selling them. That could be one way to do it, because lots of people out there ice fishing. It's like the same as the expo. You got an ice fisherman there. You might have some tip-ups out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Try and give them a demo.
That's awesome. And so Josh, did you take that website and put that in that comment section?
I will right now.
Okay, so for people at home, if you are so excited, if you have not yet navigated to the website, that should be super easy to go to click on, just to visit. And the nice thing is, if you have any questions, if you have, I don't know, if you have questions, if you're excited, you'll get to see this at the expo itself. And we are only 1 month out. So that is going to come in the blink of an eye. His time is going to go by so fast. Yeah. And so we are so excited to go to see this in person and to meet you.
I'm excited to be there as well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. And thank you so much for being here. This has been a whole bunch of fun. And I feel like I learned a whole lot. And I know that there's a lot of people at home that are excited about this.
It'll be a show.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And to the people at home, thank you guys for being here as well, because that is always a big part of the fun. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone on next week's edition of The Night Side.
Night, everybody.